welcome to Let's Play Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit, Episode 10. And where for this segment, I'm basically just hoping to make it through to round 5. As of which, after this segment, we are now through, of course, to round 3.
Congratulations! You've qualified for the next round of knockout competition.
So, I have managed to make it into the next round by quite some margin, and as of which I think that's the only Ital design eliminated from competition now. So 6 runners are left, and I have no doubt in saying it's going to be all Jags in the top 4. So Terra has now been eliminated along with Swerve as the first 2 men to be eliminated from this agonizing competition, and hopefully I can at least manage to make it through to round 5, which I can probably tell is going to be an ordeal. And is also by the fact I'm saying that I cannot save the knockout competition,
3, 2, 1,
which is the main reason why I'm just trying to get this over with as soon as possible. Although then again, I have won at Atlantica before, so it might be possible for me to notch up a top 3 maybe. Considering it was essentially my consistency of finishing first and second in the tournament, that essentially managed to help me win the tournament. And this car's top speed is 191 miles an hour. I have officially established. And for once I've actually overtaken one of the Jags. So it really does suck on how I cannot save my progress in the knockout competition. But I'm just hopeful in saying that I'll manage to make it up to the closing rounds, where it's basically just going to be 3 of us. And I can pretty much tell it's going to be an ordeal, because it was already enough of an ordeal for me to try and make it through the tournament, finishing inside the top 3 every race. Considering I basically did that by finishing first and second in each one of those races. And at the moment I'm actually ahead of one of the Jags. I don't know if this will get easier or harder, but at the moment it's looking very hard for me to try and see if I can manage to succeed in making the final cut. Well, at least I can say these races are shorter than the tournaments, so that is one part of the agony that I don't have to worry about. As in, like, it won't necessarily be too long
it's the final lap.
for me to basically get through the first part of the tournament. And I think, as far as I know, there's probably going to be 7 rounds overall in this. So it'll be interesting to see what'll happen by the time we get down to the top 3. And I am 8 seconds behind the leader, so this looks like another race which I'll have virtually no chance of winning, but at least I can say that I'm ahead of one of the Jags. And that does at least give me some motivation heading into the closing stages. And I can tell it's probably going to be an ordeal for me to try and do it. Because I basically need to make minimal mistakes if I'm going to make the final cut, which oddly enough to me I think is going to be the big question. Basically the question mark in knowing if I will or won't manage to succeed with that aspiration. Although at the moment, chances of success are looking unlikely. but I might be able to make it up to the final round if I'm lucky. And then, dependent on knowing if I can get any further than that, remains to be seen. Well, I am closing in on the leaders, but I don't think it's going to be enough for me to win the race. I think the best I can hope for is to finish third, and that's exactly where I'm going to finish, hopefully. Okay, I finished third.
Best lap. You placed third.
Okay, I finished third, which means I have solidified my position in making it through to round 4.
Congratulations! You've got a top 10 time for this track.
And I don't think it was quick enough for the lap record, but again, at least I can say I set a reasonable time. 4th best time overall around Atlantica. And my quickest lap time, dead on the same lap time set by radar. So top speed of 192 miles an hour, our average lap time of 2 minutes and 3 seconds, forward direction, and obviously a knockout race. And I was less than 2 seconds off the lap record. But what's important is I qualified for the next round. And just because I want to get this part over with, let's view the replay. Because this will be important. To me. And even though I could do each of these races in their own separate segments, I've basically just decided that, well, since I cannot save any progress that I've made in the knockout competition, I'm just going to do all of these in their own segments, more or less. Well, let's see what this camera brings, since I haven't really had one from this shot yet. Okay, well, I think I'll stick to this shot, and we'll just see what happens. But at least I can say I actually managed to beat one of the Jag. But at least I can say this time I did manage to successfully beat one of the Jags. Which is a fortunate setting for me, to say the least. Or to say the very least. But yeah, I think I picked the car that arguably has the best handling. Also, my nose is running, but I don't have a tissue. Okay, well, I think I've got enough of a reasonable shot there of the Jag. Even then, of course, if I'm not able to remove the details underneath. Anyways, let's move onwards to round 4.
Congratulations! You've qualified for the next round of knockout competition.
So it's basically going to be all Jags for the closing stages, but ultimately I have made it through to the next round, and hopefully it will not take me too long to make it through the rest. But dependent on doing if I'll do this on only my second attempt remains to be seen. Anyways, those are your standings after 3 races. Let's now move onwards to the 4th race. Also, furthermore, I have noticed my results are improving as we go along. Although now that I've said that, I'm probably going to be jinxed and will end up more or less finishing last. But again, we're at Rocky Pass. So, I might be able to win this, but at the same time there's a good opportunity in saying I won't. We'll just have to wait and see.
3,
Since
2,
I've not won a race in
1, go!
knockout mode yet. We'll just have to wait and see what this competition will present, but I am hopeful in saying that I will at least manage to stay competitive and not come out of this with a disappointing result. And can I overtake Bullet? Yes I can. I just cleared him. Okay. I'm up to second. And it looks as though Ice is probably going to dominate this race, judging by what I can see here, but again, it's fine, because we aren't into the closing stages yet. And all that really matters is just trying to not being the last guy to finish. Basically, just not being the final finisher for each of these races. Because if I do, then I will be eliminated. Well, looks as though Ice is not going to be beaten in this race, but again, at least I can say I'm moving on up through the field. And there is an opportunity in saying that he could wreck somewhere, since obviously that has happened before here at Rocky Pass. But again, I certainly don't anticipate it's going to be on a whim. And I just fucked myself. Go fuck yourself. Why did I have a feeling it was going to be that right-hander that would cuck me? Just fucking cucked me. Right when I thought for sure I was going to move up. Now it looks like I'm going to move down. Although I guess the only thing I'm really hoping for up to this point is to at least try and see if I can be successful enough to move higher than 4th, which I think is what my expectations are at the very least. Well, at least I can say the guys in front of me aren't extending by too much, but again, Ice is clearly on a tear at the moment, so it is going to be notoriously difficult to beat him, is what me thinks. I mean, for myself to basically get past this round would literally be a miracle, but again, for me to actually... no, sorry. It is more or less expected that I probably will get past this round, but dependent on knowing if I can go any further, then this will literally be a miracle, is what me thinks. And I might need to switch to class, see if it's going to end up being this way. Well, I think it's just going to be all Jags for the last 3 rounds, but again, it has been a miracle to think how far I've come in this series already, and apparently I just really don't want to think about losing it. And at the moment I'm basically making every opportunity to lose it. Okay, everyone else is just fucked off. But fortunately, I'm staying ahead of Tad, and that is the most important part. I did not mean to shift down into 2nd gear. But yeah, I'm definitely doing very well at not winning at the moment. But at the moment, I'm officially doing my best at basically not winning at the present time. Because apparently, I'm just not doing this. Because apparently, I'm just not doing this the way I want to do it. Which is just by moving up in terms of my progression. So what I can establish from this is that, well, mistakes are hugely costly in knockout mode. And I think that's exactly what I established from the previous round. Maybe it wasn't a good idea to use the jag.
That's your best lap. You placed fourth.
Well, at least I can say I made it through to the next round, which is important.
Congratulations! You beat the best time for this track.
Well, at least I can say I set the overall best time for the 2-lap dash by 3 seconds. But again, these AI are just on fucking steroids at the moment. I just literally cannot beat those jags. I mean, even when I'm trying to limit the mistakes, they still just tend to absolutely stonk me. Anyways, I set the best overall lap time around Rocket Pass, apparent as it might be. Well, anyways. So that was part 2 of the tournament, and next time we shall be doing part 3. Stay tuned for more of the beginner knockout mode.